Production support for the weekly special is provided by Smithville, a local provider of fiber optic-based internet, TV, and phone services. Smithville's Quantum Fiber Optic Network allows large amounts of data to travel around the world from local homes and businesses. More at smithville.net. Siam House, offering Thai fine dining and takeout, including stir fries, curry dishes, and banana fritters as featured in Bon Appetit. Lunch buffet 11 to 3 p.m. weekdays, corner of 4th and Dunn. IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. publichealth.indiana.edu. And WTIU members, thank you. Welcome back to another evening with the weekly special.
Well, the changing season is certainly in the air, and tonight we hope to bring you some colorful stories you won't see anywhere else.
We'll meet an incredible chaplain who is going to death-defying lengths to change his community. Enjoy a trip into the past with our newest installment of Memory Chain. Celebrate the 20th anniversary of Bloomington's famed Lotus Festival. And welcome local favorite, the Jefferson Street Parade Band, into the studio for a ruckus-inducing performance.
It's going to be a great time, and you don't want to miss it. It's all coming up right here on the weekly special.
Welcome to the weekly special. I am Daryl Neer.
And I'm Erica Sagone. Daryl, fall is by far my favorite time of the year, and the season is officially here. Yay! And I love to look forward to the little things like local apple cider and wearing lots of really cozy sweaters. What do you love about fall?
I love that crisp morning and the bright sunshine that can make a day perfect. And of course, I look forward to all of the festivals that come out over the fall. It's just a great time of year.
Yeah, like Lotus Festival, which we're going to hear about in just a little bit. But first, we have a story that is really unbelievable. Walter Glover has spent the last 10 years traveling to the ends of the earth to change the lives of kids right here in our own community. Retired pastoral care chaplain Walter Glover understands the importance of actively maintaining his health. Spurred by his love of wellness, he turned his attention toward combating youth obesity. He never imagined his efforts to change his community would bring him across the world.
My beloved Aunt Angie, who helped raise me and was also my godmother, as a child, she was obese. And she was just very vigilant that that would never happen again. And she never wanted that to be an issue. That was imprinted on me at a very young age, this idea of wellness. For a couple of years, I've been fascinated by the elite men and women that are climbing the mountain. I mean, that started all this. Fast forward 12 months later, it's '06. It's the climbing season at Everest. Base camp was my adventure. I had the dream of the mountain, but I hadn't made the connection to fundraising at that point. Again, I think that was one of those grace moments, gifts, when I knew that I would be going to Kilimanjaro, and I knew that there were 7 summits, and I'm kind of thinking, is this something I can do? And it was a chance to raise money for a cause. Like mountains, it just grew and grew.
To date, Glover has raised over $100,000, summiting 5 of the 7 infamous peaks. Glover covers the entire cost of his trips, asking his supporters to pledge a dollar amount for every foot he climbs. All of the money raised goes to bringing Life for Kids, a holistic youth obesity program, to St. Vincent hospitals in the area.
Kids learn how to eat correctly. Kids learn the importance and how to exercise correctly. There are behavioral therapists that help them understand how to implement these changes in their life. they have an Aunt Angie, someone that cares about them, and not just give them information, but give them formation techniques to make it happen.
Last year, however, Glover's efforts took a dramatic change of course. While training for Mount McKinley, he suffered a brutal fall. Though the fall resulted in only a few broken ribs, doctors made an unexpected discovery: 4 aneurysms, resulting in open heart surgery. Glover's spirit remained undeterred.
Dr. Hymanson, my cardiovascular surgeon, said, "Do you have any questions?" I said, "I only got one." He said, "What's that?" I said, "When can I return to the mountains?" And we agreed on a date. And I said, "Here's your assignment. When I get out of here, I want to be even stronger than I was when I came in here."
Less than a year later, he returned to the slopes, summiting Mount Rainier this summer.
It's important not to rest on your laurels. If 15 years ago, somebody would have knocked on my door and said, "Here's what your life is going to look like. You're going to get a master's in theology, you're going to provide pastoral care, and oh, by the way, you're going to try and climb the 7 summits." I would have said to that person, "You know, I'm sure you're right, but you're knocking on the wrong door. You need to go down the hallway." It isn't so much about the destination, it's about the journey. When you're on the summit, we don't learn from the summit. We learn when we climb to the summit.
Erica, there are so many reasons to be inspired by Walter's story.
Yeah, and we've really just scratched the surface of his story tonight. In addition to being a fundraiser, Walter is also a grief counselor for families who have experienced loss. And each time he reaches the top of a mountain, he recites from memory the names of patients who have passed in remembrance. It's really touching.
Amazing.
And really, you just have to check it out at our website. We'll be posting it as a bonus video, and it's incredibly touching. You don't want to miss it.
And of course, you want to learn more about Walter's organization, visit his website, 2trek4kids.org. Walter is certainly creating moments to remember, and our series Memory Chain is dedicated to exploring such moments frozen in time.
That's right. Captured by the circuit camera, these photographs offer an incredible glimpse into the distant past.
Over my head, I see trouble in the air. Over my head, I see trouble in the air. Over my head, I see trouble in the air. There must be a God somewhere.
The young children pictured here belonged to the last generation to consider photographs a luxury. But even with the billions of images that would be captured on film over the coming years, it's possible that these are the only surviving visual records of these brief childhoods. If so, you really couldn't find a better portrait. The kids are shown here doing what kids do best, bearing silent witness to the world in front of them. This gathering, from May 11th, 1919, forms the second strand in our memory chain. It's a portrait of the Thomas and Mayflower Lodges and the household of Ruth, the colored auxiliaries of the Order of Oddfellows. They met Monday and Thursday evenings above a small business run by William LaFoon of Terre Haute, Indiana. This circuit photograph was taken just a few miles and a couple months from our first picture from the photographer's picnic. But being that they were both taken in 1919, they were actually light years apart. Even the youngest children here were acquainted with the dangers that existed in the world out there. In 1919, America would experience over 350 race riots, igniting the country from Chicago, Illinois, to Omaha, Nebraska, to Phillips County, Arkansas. So many of the details have been buried with history. The legacy for the nation moving forward arose from what many thousands of children bore witness to back then. Images that would become stories for generations to come. Over the course of their lives, these children, and at least some of these adults, would experience a sea change in race relations felt from the ground up. Perhaps everyone in this group sensed it coming on that Sunday in May. Maybe that's why they gathered here. Notice this leafless tree in front. It's shaped just like a divining rod, bending towards the earth in hopes of someday finding the healing waters below.
So interesting to see through these snapshots what life was like 100 years ago.
And remember, you can see the first installment and learn more about the camera itself at our website under the Memory Chain tab.
And now to the less distant past, Lotus Festival. Bloomington's premier celebration of music and diversity is marking its 20th year.
And we're excited to welcome board member Brandy Host to learn more. Welcome to the weekly special, Brandy.
Well, thank you, Daryl.
Brandy, could you lay out for us, how would you describe the Lotus Festival?
In my very casual terms, I call it the smorgasbord of music and festivities, but that's one of the things I find the most appealing about Lotus is there is truly something for everyone. And depending on your taste, you can experience a little bit of it or a lot of each option that they offer.
And this goes on for the entire weekend, but it's not just music.
It's not just music, it also includes arts. We have a visual arts display on 6th Street this year, and then there are also Lotus in the Park, which is our free event on Saturday from noon to 5. There's an arts village there, and it's very interactive, family friendly, and free, as I mentioned.
Yeah, and there's so many parts of Lotus Festival, and I'm wondering when we take a look at it, is that one of the keys that's helped Lotus Festival endure for the past 20 years? Because this is the 20th anniversary.
This is the 20th anniversary, and yeah, we are an enduring festival. We have about a 75% repeat visitor to our festival.
That's incredible.
So obviously we're doing something right. We've continued to grow the festival over the years. The first year, a little less than 1,000 attendees, and we're anticipating 11,000 this year. Takes over 500 volunteers to make it happen, and we've got 32 artists this year over a course of 5 nights. So.
And the selection process for the artists, how do you come up with who will be attending?
I don't do that part. That is strictly in the board manual that we are not at artist. We are not at artist liberty. Lee Williams is our artist selection master and has been doing it since the start of the festival 20 years ago and around Bloomington for longer than that.
Well, and the Lotus Festival and Bloomington have become pretty synonymous in so many ways, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that connection between the two.
Yeah. What Lotus does for Bloomington is essentially brings the world to Bloomington. It is an opportunity that follows our mission closely, and that's to provide diversity and culture for Bloomington and the surrounding counties. And we do that through the arts, through the artists, through the wide variety. And conversely, what that's done for Bloomington is put us on the map globally. The artists who come to Lotus have heard of us, know where we are, and are excited to be playing here. I've had a chance to interact with many of them over the years, and they truly find Bloomington to be a very welcoming place to come play.
And it makes the weekend absolutely fabulous, walking around downtown. Brandy, thanks for coming in and talking about Lotus.
Thanks so much, Brandy.
Thank you.
Be sure to get all the latest information on the upcoming events at the website lotusfest.org. And speaking of Lotus Festival, we are thrilled to welcome one of the celebration's featured musical acts, the Jefferson Street Parade Band.
And while we move some things out of the way, let's learn more about this one-of-a-kind marching band.
How much fun would it be to get a bunch of friends together and create a band where we could go play in the streets?
When Ben started the parade band, I thought it was so cool because up until that point we had just been in the context of playing in a rock band, like playing bars and playing basements and that kind of a thing. And I remember you telling me about how that was just really, especially when it was nice outside, that was like a really hard thing for you to do because you wanted to be outside. And
I've always kind of been in these rock groups that were really trying to write our own material and you know, get excited about what we could create together and put that out there. As soon as we started having ideas for this band, for the existence of this band, everything we listened to started feeling like a potential song to cover. And we drew from a lot of different sources. Since the time I was about 18, I've been exposed to some really amazing percussion traditions from West Africa, from Guinea. As soon as we started this band where there were going to be 3 or 4 drummers, it was kind of like going back to the West African stuff and thinking about how can we make awesome layers of rhythm. So that was part of the excitement. At a certain point though, it got really exciting to write a bunch of music. And over the years, the lineup has changed quite a lot. There have probably been 4 or so incarnations of the band that have really kind of taken flight. At its maximum, it's about 16 or 17 people right now. So there's a number of voices within the band, which is fantastic. It makes it fresh, you know. Because, you know, what an awesome vehicle to have. To, you know, if you have a kernel of a song, to start rehearsing it and start creating something together. Like it's been a lot of fun.
a lot of our rehearsals are in this room, and we're just kind of standing around in a circle. We listen to each other a lot. We work on the songs and the musicianship a lot. And then sometimes we'll go on practice marches where we practice staying close to each other and stepping in time and things. So we're always playing somewhere weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing about this is I kind of never know what to expect when we're going to go play somewhere. It's like we have an idea, okay, maybe we'll march. This is the route that we'll go.
I remember the first time we played on an escalator. That was a pretty special moment. We were at the Bloomington Convention Center, needed to get to the second floor, and all of a sudden the band was single file going up an escalator. Suddenly we didn't have to march. We could just stand and play and keep moving.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. It's like just so much energy to be caught up, surrounded by. That's the magic of it, I think, or the beauty of it is just, it's the energy of so many people coming together. When you go play music in the streets, you can go surprise strangers and you know, put music where they weren't expecting it and play music that people weren't expecting. And once we got the idea started, it really took flight.
From the streets of Bloomington to Studio 6, it's the Jefferson Street Parade Band.
Jefferson Street Parade Band. You guys are so much fun. Thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate
Daryl,
it.
this is the kind of band that I'd like to join.
The question I have, do you have the hat?
I think I could figure it out.
That's great. And remember, you can see them this weekend at the Lotus Festival. For all the latest information, visit their Facebook page. And while you're there, visit our Facebook page. We'll have links to their full performances and the latest updates from the weekly special.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time that we've got for tonight. But seeing the Jefferson Street Parade Band has made me really excited to check out Lotus this weekend. I can't wait to go.
It is. It's going to be a great weekend, and we're glad that we could bring the Jefferson Street Band to you as well.
Yes, and one more time, Jefferson Street Parade Band.
Production support for the weekly special is provided by Smithville, a local provider of fiber optic-based internet, TV, and phone services. Smithville's quantum fiber optic network allows large amounts of data to travel around the world from local homes and businesses. More at smithville.net. Siam House, offering Thai fine dining and takeout, including stir-fries, curry dishes, and banana fritters as featured in Bon Appetit. Lunch buffet 11 to 3 p.m. weekdays, corner of 4th and Dunn. IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. publichealth.indiana.edu. And WTIU members, thank you.